We live in a digital era of entertainment. It is now more convenient than ever to watch a movie right from the comfort of our own homes, thanks to streaming services such as Netflix and Hulu. Not only is there a wide selection of movies and shows to choose from, but all of them can be accessed in just one monthly fee. Even with other digital options such as video on demand, it is essentially a no-brainer that digital media is essentially the future of our entertainment. However, this sadly leaves out what was once a very prominent format in the entertainment world, and that is a physical media format. VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and even 4K UHD have all been left out for over a decade, with no real sign of them coming back anytime soon. The thing is though, they're not fully obsolete yet. But how? Well, let's start from the beginning. Physical media has existed for a long while, but its first run of commercial success was in 1976, with a little thing known as the VHS. While there were other analog tape formats that existed beforehand, such as the Betamax, the VHS ended up taking over for its affordable price and consumer friendliness. Because of this, and with VHS being the primary format for home video production, the home media market became a huge success in the 80s and 90s.
I've thought of something. Why don't we rent a video tonight?
Now on video cassette. Look for it at your video store.
Get them while they're hot. Go home heavy.
In 1987, it was reported that 50 million VCRs were sold, and the top 5 best-selling VHS tapes at the time reached around $20 to $30 million in sales in the 80s and 90s. Some examples include The Lion King selling 32 million and Jurassic Park selling 24 million. And that was only the beginning. Introducing the DVD! Serving as an extension of CDs and Laserdisc, the DVD, or digital video disc, or if you want to be real fancy, the digital versatile disc, was introduced in 1996 to essentially store any kind of video data, way more than VHS. And with the home media market, it offers more options for publishers to put onto releases. There's higher quality video, different audio options, interactive menus, bonus content, the list goes on and on. Finally, I can watch Howard the Duck in higher quality! Don't ask me why I have this. Despite this though, DVDs didn't really explode to popularity until around the early 2000s, where DVD players became more affordable. For example, the PlayStation 2. Ever wonder what a PS2 sold so well? Well, one of the main reasons is that it was essentially the most affordable DVD player at the time, only costing around $300 when it launched, while other DVD players at the time cost around $700. So the idea is, I could play games on this console, while also watch movies with its own built-in DVD player, and that's how you get 160 million units. Moving along, the DVD and VHS have lived together in harmony. Well, that is until the VHS discontinued in 2005 in the US, so let me rephrase that a little bit. The DVD lived in harmony for a good chunk of the 2000s, dominating the home media market with every new movie that came out.
It's the one DVD you gotta own.
On DVD today. Collector's Edition DVD today.
On DVD.
Then in 2006, Sony's Blu-ray and Toshiba's HD DVD was introduced, which is essentially a DVD but in high definition quality, and it has more space for more bonus features. Both formats had a format war for around 2 years, until Blu-ray became the victor because more companies were on its side. So finally, I can watch Howard the Duck in the highest quality at the time I said don't ask! Despite the new advances in home video technology though, a new way of watching movies would come in and change the entertainment industry forever. In 2007, Netflix introduced a new model for the company. In the earlier years, they were a DVD by mail service, where you can rent out a DVD from their website and have it mailed to you for a certain amount of time. Their new model introduces streaming media, where you have access to a ton of movies and TV shows in just one service. This was a game changer for the entertainment medium, as it's basically an expanded version of video on demand, where instead of having to pay a one-time price for one movie or TV show, you get access to a variety of content in just one monthly fee. Following that up with Hulu being formed, mainly being centered around TV shows, and having both that and Netflix expanding their regions beyond the US, streaming became a massive success over the years, even going as far as taking over the physical media format, as DVD and Blu-ray sales have been declining since 2008. Not even the newest format, Ultra HD Blu-ray, which now can go up to 4K, can save the ever-devolving relevancy of physical media as a whole. And that's where we are now. Digital media is still as popular as ever, with streaming services being the dominant format for entertainment. Meanwhile, physical media still hasn't recovered from declining sales, as stores have started to pull off physical media from their shelves. A prime example of that is with Best Buy. They used to have a pretty wide selection of DVDs and Blu-rays to choose from, but sadly as of 2024, they have since removed them off shelves. Which is honestly a real shame, because I remember they used to offer really cool store exclusives of their physical movies, like Steelbooks for example. But to hell with physical media, the future is now, old man! So, why haven't DVDs gone completely out of fashion yet? Sure, they're not as relevant as they are now, but despite how seemingly convenient watching movies digitally are, there's still people advocating for physical media, whether for the common folk or for the industry giants. And I believe this boils down to a couple big reasons. One of those reasons being that streaming services just aren't as convenient as they once were. Netflix dominated the streaming market back then, meaning that you can watch any movie or TV show on there. But then other companies saw the benefits Netflix had and wanted a piece of that cake too. Now, every company has their own streaming service, and it can be really hard to keep up, especially if you want to watch a film or TV series that's been through multiple distributors. For example, Pokemon. The official Pokemon website has a whole ass page dedicated to showing which service has each Pokemon series, which is in like 10 different services altogether. And since the licensing of these shows and movies will change constantly, it can be really overwhelming to keep track which service has what. And you might argue that, well, it's Pokemon, you don't have to watch every movie or show, and yeah, that's a fair point, but even movies or shows with a straightforward and continuous storyline don't have every installment in just one service. At the time of filming, Paramount has recently added Terminator Genesis onto their service. So you might think, maybe I can watch the other Terminator movies on there. Only to figure out that Paramount Plus only has half the Terminator movies on there, Terminator 2, and the last few ones that no one likes. So, where's Terminator 1? Oh, it's on HBO Max. Okay, what about the fourth one, Salvation? Oh, it's on Hulu. If you have the Cinemax add-on! Alright then, what about the third one, Rise of the Machines? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And I'm not even exaggerating. Recently, Terminator 3 has been removed off every digital platform, with no real explanation as to why. Some say it's a licensing issue, but all this boils down is that Terminator 3 cannot be watched digitally anymore. Oh hey, it's the Terminator 6 movie collection on Blu-ray. How'd that get in my hands? Speaking of which, streaming services will just flat out remove movies or TV shows, whether having to move to another service or just delete it entirely. An infamous example is of HBO Max removing multiple cartoons from their service. Looney Tunes Show, Billy and Mandy, Ed, Edd and Eddy, Teen Titans, all did just straight up wipe from their service with no real warning. It's a running trend with not only HBO Max, but with practically every streaming service. And it's only made worse with the original content that's made specifically for that service, since once they're gone, they have no second life anywhere else. You're better off just sailing the 7 seas to watch shows or movies without often than being removed. Oh, speaking of which, I see some pirates out there now. Arr, mateys, and the last rule of being a pirate, if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. Arr! And that is where physical media comes in. Physical media may not be as convenient as having it on digital. In some cases, it's a lot more reliable. While it may sound easy to just open Netflix, look for a movie you want to watch and click play, many overlook the smaller details that are needed for that to happen. Like you have to consider, for example, needing a strong internet connection, otherwise your movie will look like a jumble of pixels and stutter constantly. But with a physical copy, you can just pop that in any designated player and click play without the need for an internet connection. So whenever your internet cuts off and you can't watch Howard the Duck on Amazon Prime Day and rent it for $4, you could just use the Howard the Duck DVD copy you bought for $5 as a joke. I told you not to ask me why I have to! And what's better is that Blu-ray and 4K discs have a higher picture quality than those on streaming services. And since the picture quality in these formats are more consistent, most of the time they're the better ways of watching movies and TV shows. What I'm trying to get at is that you technically have a better viewing experience with your physical copies than you do buying it on digital. And it's not just with film and TV either, the same thing can be said with games and music. As mentioned before, content would get removed from services frequently, some of them having no sign of returning. With physical media, once you buy them, it's basically yours to keep, whether to play them or keep it as a display. As long as you take good care of that copy, no one can take it away from you. Unless you get robbed. Ah shit, they took Paul Blart! Now that's not to say physical media is perfect. Like anything, it has its downsides. The discs can get scratched if you don't take care of them enough, which can make them unplayable, especially on DVDs. Not only that, not every Blu-ray or 4K transfer will look as good as it did in theaters, or in worst case scenario, will look worse than it did on DVD. Yes, I'm looking at you, James Cameron, for making your actors look like wax figures. You also have physical games still requiring you to download the game via an internet connection to get all the game data and the latest updates, which really blows. And the biggest one of all, for me at least, the price. Obviously, physical media copies cost way more than a monthly digital subscription, making digital media more convenient by default. Despite this though, there is one thing that physical media has that digital media doesn't, and that is the sentimental value of it, especially with a fascination of the past. Physical media is tangible. Obviously. You can hold it in your hands, fiddle with it, cut bread with it, whatever. What comes with the tangibility is the memories you can make off them. A personal example. This is the Shrek copy I've had since I was a kid. Yeah, it's old and scratched up, but I still have a lot of fond memories of it. I still remember the DVD menu, with all the characters just standing around waiting for you to make a choice, meanwhile Donkey's just bouncing around in the background. It's also lively and fits the movie so well, even with its sub-menus. And the games, oh my god, they were such a blast to play. The Save the Princess game, where I had to make the right choice to make progress. The Morph game, where I could make this abomination. The Quiz game, where I could test on my Shrek knowledge. And, on top of everything, watching the movie like a billion times over. Anyways, going back to the sentimental value of physical media, there's been a recent trend where a lot of younger people develop a fascination towards older technology. Some of these examples being VHS and DVD discs themselves. The technology we have nowadays is extremely overwhelming, with a lot of them not really being made to make life more convenient, rather having glued to a subscription service that can maybe make your life 5% easier if you pay for them. That's why people turn to older tech to see what that tangible life was like. It's why vinyl records have become more popular over the years, another form of physical media. Sure, you can just get a Spotify premium subscription or just listen to the music on YouTube, but it's just a satisfying feeling of hitting that needle on that record player and seeing that record spin. What's even more interesting is that vinyl has made such a comeback that music labels have been releasing new albums on vinyl as well as CDs. Hell, vinyl records have more shelf space than CDs in big-name retail stores like Target or Walmart. That's how popular they've become. And thus, physical media went from an obsolete form of technology to a niche piece of history with a dedicated community. People who love to share their old VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, music, or video game memories that they have with other people, showing off their collections from their childhood, or rare and out-of-print copies that they have. It's again, not something you can do with streaming services or digital media as a whole, especially since you don't own your digital copies. You own a license to essentially borrow them. And despite bigger companies trying their best to fizzle out physical media, that's not stopping smaller companies from publishing obscure content onto home media. Shout Factory, Criterion, Arrow Video, all of them are dedicated to bringing the best versions of lesser-known films onto home media, some of them not being available on any streaming services, like at a Mouth of Madness. Even celebrities from the entertainment industry have been endorsing physical media, despite digital media technically being more profitable. A great example of that is with the Criterion Closet videos on YouTube, where they would bring in actors and directors to talk about movies from the Criterion collection while also holding that copy in their hands. It almost feels like you're talking with someone at a video store, especially with how intimate some of these actors and directors would get when talking about these movies.
This is like my scriptures.
The Closet of Love.
Jackie Chan box set, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of directors, Christopher Nolan, director of The Dark Knight and Oppenheimer, say that streaming services are, quote, a danger, and if things only exist in the streaming version, they do get taken down, they come and go. Even going as far as to say that the home media version of his films are definitive versions, because of the clear picture and how him and his team have more control over them.
There's much less compression, There's very specific authoring. We control the color of the picture, the brightness, you know, all these things. When you stream a film, it's like broadcasting a film. We don't have much control over how it goes out.
Guillermo del Toro, another prolific director, states that physical media is a, quote, responsibility to own, and if we own a physical copy of a movie we love, we are the, quote, custodian of those films for generations to come. Both statements emphasize the longevity of physical media, at least in film. Both serving as a good way to preserve movies, both old and new, as well as a way to share memories of those films with other people. So yes, I am a custodian of a Howard the Duck DVD copy, as well as the Cat in the Hat 2003 DVD copy a friend gifted to me on Christmas. You know who you are! So what this comes down to is that physical media is still important in the entertainment industry today. There's still a lot of physical copies you can find at bookstores like Half Price Books or Barnes & Noble, and even new releases on retail stores like Walmart or Target. Well, Target if you just want to buy music or games. It's a great way to experience what's mostly the purest version of a movie, TV show, game, or song that you can think of. Sure, it's nice to have a ton of content available to you in one place, but it's also nice to have that same content in the palm of your hands. And while physical media may be seen as outdated by the general public, or hell, even by corporations themselves, there's still a dedicated group of people that still hold this format near and dear to their hearts, and that's amazing to see. And the best part is, it's never too late to start a collection, so go out there and buy the DVD, CD, video game, or whatever you can think of, because that copy could stick with you for a very long time.